Klaus Schwab reveals who he really is as he introduces new, quote, role model for countries. Now, I think y'all already know who this so-called role model is. Is the country that has so much control over its people. I'm talking about China and their CCP government. Um, this is the model that Klaus Schwab from the World Economic Forum is talking about. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button, share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already. Subscribe and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon where I talk about things I can't talk about here. And there's also a link to my Instagram where I put out even more news. So check that out as well. All right, let's talk about this news. The World Economic Forum's leader, Klaus Schwab, let the mask slip last week when he stated in an interview which nation he believes is a, quote, role model for the rest of the world. According to Fox News, in an interview with Chinese state affiliate media during the last week's APEC CEO summit in Bangkok, Schwab says he sees the Chinese system as a role model for other nations. Quote, I think it's a role model for many countries, he said, while clarifying that each country needs to make its own decisions. Schwab did say that, quote, the Chinese model is certainly a very attractive model for quite a number of countries. And he doesn't say what the reasons really are, but we all know what the reasons why it's a role model is because again, it's their control, the way they control the people. Look at what happened over the whole pandemic stuff. We see the total lockdowns. People couldn't even leave their homes. That's the CCP, and that's the control he wants worldwide. But exactly what part of the Chinese system Schwab admired was not stated, which naturally leads one to wonder exactly what it is about the Chinese model that prompts his admiration. Frankly, there should be nothing appealing to Americans about living under a Chinese style system. China is one part communist state with absolutely no basic freedoms whatsoever. For instance, in the past few years, the Chinese Communist Party has introduced an onerous social credit score system which rewards citizens for what they deem as, quote, good behavior and hands out harsh punishment for even minor offenses. This system has prevented millions of Chinese people from being allowed to travel due to their low social credit scores. Think about the stuff that we got going on in our country now with the whole environmentalist stuff. That's what they want to use as social credits. Speaking out against certain things. Look what they did to Kanye West. Look what people did to Kyrie Irving. They want to implement that on a government level and have it where they can control people, control what they say, censor what they say. The government really don't want to censor you. They want you to censor yourself. They want you to know what things that you're not supposed to say, what you're not supposed to talk about, and want you to self-censor. But China has also cracked down harshly on religious and ethnic minorities in recent years. The most prominent instance comes from Western provinces Xinjiang, where thousands of Uyghur Muslims have been arrested and sent to concentration camps. And I talked about that before. Also, let's not forget the oppression of the Tibetans under Chinese rule. The government has also instituted a draconian zero COVID policy, which has seen its citizens put under virtual house arrest, unable to even go out and buy food as the country attempts to eliminate COVID. And we see a bunch of protests in China over that right now. And because of the protests that's going on in China, they're starting to ease some of their restrictions right now. But essentially, the Chinese system is designed to create a society of communist drones that will not challenge the communist authorities and will swear absolute loyalty to the CCP. And that's what I mean. They really want you to self-censor so they don't have to lay the smackdown on you. But they will, though, as we've seen in China. This thus begs the question, why would Klaus Schwab want the rest of the world to look to a country that oppresses its own citizens and is actively trying to eliminate minorities as a role model for the rest of the world? What could this system possibly have that Schwab and the WEF admire? I think we know. But unfortunately, this may have something to do with the fact that Schwab is really no different than the totalitarian tyrant he idolizes. Schwab and the WEF also want total control over society. This is the group that has spent the last 2 years pushing the Great Reset, a plan to completely remake the global economy following the COVID pandemic. The promotion of the Great Reset had the infamous line, "You will own nothing and be happy." And y'all know I covered that to ad nauseum. If it sounds like the implementation of global communism, you would be correct. That's exactly what it is. What it is global communism, total control. The WEF has also ceaselessly pushed for a global transition to green energy. In some ways, seeing it as the only way to defend democracy. However, as everyone is now seeing, this push for unsustainable green energy is now part of the reason that Europe is facing a severe energy crisis in the coming winter. This is also the group that wants to institute a one world government in which nations would be abolished and a supranational body would control the lives of people in the world. If that last sentence didn't paint Schwab and the WEF as a veritable cabal of supervillains, nothing will. So now it makes sense why Schwab will point to the Chinese system as a role model. Schwab, like the Chinese, wants to have complete control over the lives of ordinary people, and they want to punish anyone who resists. There is no reason why anyone should admire or want to replicate the Chinese system, and the fact that Schwab openly praises it gives a terrifying idea of what the WEF may have planned, and y'all know how I feel about that. The whole thing is crazy. They're actually telling you how they feel by saying they want to the role model is the Chinese government, that, and we know that the Chinese government is evil, is a dictatorship, is totalitarianism, authoritarianism, all the negative isms is basically what's coming out of China, and he want to implement that around the whole world. But let me know what you think. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe, and check out democrepublics.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.